Man,
That's in his side here.
I don't want to talk to him.
Please, I know.
They don't want to talk to you either. So
Zoe,
there.
can I participate in a class?
Huh?
Can I sit here and listen to you? I want to hear, I want to learn some things.
Sure, Terry, for you, anything.
You need help? Like I could like.
Should I bring, do you feel like bringing value for you?
You are the queen of value add. You.
Terry,
Did you bring the
adore
toast?
you.
Did you
I
bring the bacon?
totally adore you. Even if you're married, I still adore you.
It's no. Daggers. All I want to do is earn your love.
Oh my God, I'm telling you.
I threw out the pans you made fun of.
To the-
Yeah, but they're all gone. You should have said it when
I adore this man.
Is this thing on?
You know what, for whatever reason, I thought otherwise.
Married, I will tell your wife, I adore you.
Thank you. That means a lot. However,
And I'll tell your child, I adore you too.
I like that.
Unfortunately, I cannot do the same.
No.
That turns
People
you
would
down
think-
that I will adore you.
If I started saying what she's saying, people would think differently of me.
Listen, but I respect you because you're bringing the kosher turkey. Like this guy was like with the bacon and then this and the stuff and some
You know
ham.
what, for the last 5 years.
Kosher turkey tastes different than
No,
regular turkey,
no,
it's
no.
just the way it's been killed, right?
Exactly. So, you know,
Did you do it yourself?
no, I,
Oh, I have.
for the last 5 years, we have done it.
Let's ask you a question. This is a sad thing to ask, but I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to understand the Jewish religion. Someone commits suicide. You know how Muslims and Christian Jews bury their dead 24 hours?
Uh-huh.
And what happens when someone commits suicide? Because I remember someone telling me that it's like a huge no-no.
Yeah, but because sometimes when, you know what, sometimes they don't even bury him in the cemetery along with others. They would bury him at the bottom because you're not supposed to take your own
Yeah,
life and God is the only one that's supposed to.
Yeah.
So that's one of the no-nos, but nevertheless, as far as burial, you know what, the person has to be buried right away.
Yeah.
So that's,
Because I just, one of my really favorite builders in LA that I look at, he just committed suicide. And just
Sorry.
my heart, he was like in his 30s, beautiful guy.
there was another guy that did that, but that was about 8 months
Yeah,
ago.
I remember another one, that this just, I left behind a 3-year-old and his fiance, so I was trying to figure out, because, I was gonna call my sister-in-law, she's Jewish. And I was like, what, because they buried him like a whole week later. So I was wondering.
Probably doing it in
400
autopsy.
people
Yeah.
shot him, but
Probably because of the autopsy.
I just, I mean, I was heartbroken yesterday. Because he was like one of the nicest guys I have ever
What was
met.
his name?
Artem Templar. Artem Templar, he's from Israel.
Yeah,
You know, it was money. You spread yourself.
with the other guy, he had money, he had 2 kids, everything was fine and dandy. Saturday morning, he wakes up, goes to the office and decides to commit suicide.
And he was a builder too?
Yeah.
'Cause I wonder if that's the one that Dennis Chernoff was, no, that was like a year or 2
A
years
year
ago.
ago, it was a year ago maybe.
Yeah.
It just, and you know what, today in the news, 3 sheriff in,
No,
police,
that was 5 of them.
were 4 of them.
Yeah.
Well, 3 were sheriff, one was a
They're all
LAUSD.
they're all retired. It's north of the boulevard.
The
Not Encino,
documentary,
it's on Encino Avenue, I think it's called. It's right across from Buco de Beppo or whatever. You just go down and the first street, the house is in the corner. It's a big, darker looking house, but it's got these statues or something in there. It's really cool house. Wow, this is nice. I get two people. I'm excited. Thank you.
2.5.
2.5.
I'll be back.
Here's a buyer's closing statement. I just made these up. So
Thank you so much.
Sorry, there are more people coming in.
that's okay.
It's like hurting cats.
Here's the sellers. And here's the sellers. I have no idea what I'm talking about, so just pretend that I do now. You go.
And then I put these two up for you.
Yeah, that's it.
Did
Thank
you want
so
me
much.
to stay in here so I could do this for you, or did you
Yeah,
want to do it?
where?
Or, oh, what, I can
No,
stay in
you
here.
can
and
do it for
Okay,
me.
perfect.
I'm Carrie.
Um,
How are you doing?
Now.
Got wishful thinking when you're putting, letting it like.
No, there's a couple of people in the conference room, they're just, I think they're in the meeting. And then-
Can they hear me over there?
Yes. It is on and recording.
Actually, you know what? I could show it from here. This is great.
And then if you wanna just, walk in front of the camera real quick and put your hand up so that it'll follow you.
Hold on a second, let me.
Thank you, Gordy.
Okay, what am I doing?
Just put your hand up and then walk.
Pledge of
so it follows you.
Take a note.
Or maybe a little closer. It'll follow you like this. Come on. We'll see. I might pick up when you start walking around. Okay.
You're welcome.
Question, what do you charge per thousand for this work?
It's $2 per thousand plus 250 base. But you know, if you have a situation where you're competing with another escrow company, give me a call. I mean, I won't do that on every transaction, but I will work with you. I don't have a problem with that. It's not my money, no I'm kidding. I will work with you. So whatever you need, I can do that. Okay, how many of, well, you all know that there's always a buyer's closing statement and there's a seller's closing statement. I get people call me all the time. How come the commission is not showing? Well, because you're the buyer, you're not paying for the commission. So this is the seller's, closing statement. Everything you guys see on the credit side is what the seller's getting credited for. And then everything here on this, debit side is what they're being charged. If you move up to the closing, this is the purchase price of the property, which is $1 million. And then they have owed $253,000. If you see that under payoff charges, usually you'll have interest and what do you call it, recording charges and things. For the sake of this, I didn't put it on there. So taxes, how many of you do know how the taxes are done in LA County? Because a lot of people think even though the taxes are due in December and in April, they're prorated from January to July, July to January. That's what their fiscal year is.
Isn't that fiscal year from June to July?
It's July 1st.
To
July
July
1st
1st
to
to
January to July. So it works in 6 months. So what it looks like is
But it's the same amount, right?
Yeah, so what happens is, when you're paying for December's tax, let's say December's taxes. This is July. This is, January. So when you're paying the taxes, you pay for this half and this half. So let's say you have a property here that's closing, like our property is closing December 8th, okay? So that's 2 days before taxes are due or late. So we're gonna charge for prorations from July 1 all the way to December 8th. That's gonna be what the seller has owned the property for this amount of time. So anything from December 1st to January 1st, or December 8th to January 1st, is owed by the buyer. So that's how we prorated. In this case, we took it, the taxes were $3,772. We took it from December 8th to January 1. So they're getting a credit of $481.98 because they're gonna be paying the taxes. Okay, and then you're gonna see the commissions that's being charged. So other credits, usually, these are the miscellaneous fees that we charge. There's a NHD, usually seller pays for that. Retrofit, I just put $100, we put that just, as a ballpark figure.
What's the retrofit?
Retrofit is whenever you do a property in Los Angeles County, or the city of Los Angeles, I should say. When you're selling the property, it has to be inspected by a retrofit company to make sure they have the bracing for the hot water heaters correct. They have the shut off valve for the earthquakes. They
So
have-
this is for only residential.
This is for actually, no, for commercial too, they do that. So condos, everything.
In Beverly Hills too, so LA County.
No, Beverly
Okay.
Hills is not the city of Los Angeles, this is city of Los Angeles.
Okay.
Beverly Hills is, what do you call it, they don't have that, they don't even have, like, we'll go over to, where's the transfer taxes? City of Los Angeles, if you own a house in city of Los Angeles, you have to pay a city tax, a transfer tax, and a county transfer tax. The city tax is $4.50 per thousand of your purchase price, and the county tax is $1.10 per thousand for your purchase price. But let's say Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
they only pay $1.10 per thousand for their
For
transfer.
the
tax.
counties.
For the,
And they
yeah,
don't,
for
and
the
so
county
the
tax.
city of Beverly Hills doesn't.
No, like, most people think Brentwood actually is the city of Los Angeles,
Angeles.
it's not. So, and then now with the millionaire's tax.
Yeah.
If your property is over 5 million, you not only pay $450, on top of that, you pay 4% of your purchase price, what do you call it? You multiply that by the purchase price, and it's something like 200 and some odd thousand dollars. Minimum. That people voted for, because they thought they could house the homeless, but so far they've only collected like 150 million, it's not like as much as they thought they were going to.
Because they stop building.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the ratio for city transfer tax?
City is $4.50 per thousand for the city tax. And then it's $1.10 per thousand for the county tax.
Got it.
And then I'm always available, I mean, some of the people that have worked with me, I always answer my phone. If I'm on the phone, I'll text you, say I'm on the phone, I'll call you back. If you need anything, I'm there, even though I'm physically not here, I will take care of things for you. Like buyer's estimates you need, I've had agents call me that I don't even do the escrow. But their client is buying a house and I do the estimates for them anyway. So, but then you come down to, you have the city, when you do a city of Los Angeles, you also have to do, once the retrofit is done, there's the certificate of compliance that the retrofitter sends you, that they've inspected the property. And then you have to get that certificate signed by buyer and seller. And then you cut a check for $15 and you send it to the Department of Water and Power, or Escrow does. And then here, we have home warranty in case your contract says that. And then sellers, usually what we do is, a lot of sellers for convenience, because they have to get grantings notarized and their proceeds instructions notarized. So what we do is we always give them the option, if you want, we can send a notary to you for the convenience. And we use the service, and they charge $200 to go do the paperwork with them. So that's that, and then this 7276 is for the 9A report for the city of Los Angeles that we have to give on the behalf of the seller to buyers.
What's a 90?
The 9A report is a report that it's an application they fill out that it goes hand in hand with your retrofit. And so what happens is they go in and they inspect the property, like they ask you questions, do you have if it's like you have more than 3 units, if you have like lighting and locks, if you have break sink for the hot water heater, if you have low water shower heads and things, and we send that to the city, then the city will let us know if there are any open permits, any property, anything that was done on the property without the permit. Then they send us that. If it's not clear, then we have to get it clear. If it's clear, then buyer approves it and we move on. Okay,
What's the difference with CFC?
I'm sorry,
COC,
that's certificate of compliance, that's the form.
how long it takes to get it all to?
Well, when you're the one, as the agent, as the listing agent, you guys are supposed to give that to the buyers within the first 7 days, but most agents don't do that. But you order the retrofit, and the retrofitter takes care of it and sends them the certificate. And then in my opening package as escrow officer, I sent a copy of a blank copy of the certificate of compliance to the buyer and seller. And they sign it, and then we send it all in together.
So is the COC same as 9A report?
No, COC certificate of compliance. That's the one where the retrofitter goes and sees whether you're compliant or not.
So that comes from the retrofit.
Yes.
okay?
And in some cases, like if you have a builder, I know KW has a form that they waive it because a lot of investors and builders are gonna go in and knock the building down. So they do the waiver for both parties sign it saying that they're not gonna do the retrofit until after it's been built, and then it's on the buyer side that has to take care of it. Usually the seller has to take care of it, but in this case, the buyer does.
And I also heard if it's a commercial and if it's only one store, nothing else.
Yeah.
That totally is not required.
No, but in commercial, like commercial, like condos or townhouses, where there's like 3, 4 units, you have to do it.
It should start right now, as I was at a meeting.
No, I started
This is the
from
first
the
page.
top.
No, this is the first page.
I can meet with you afterwards, but this is the first page. Okay? So then you have your tax, you have your, what do you call it, the title? Okay, there's 2 different titles that you're gonna see. There's the owner's title policy, which the seller, it's like an insurance policy, the seller gives to the buyer. That it covers the title of the property up to the day they're selling it, basically. So they're telling you there's no one that's gonna, if someone comes forward, let's say you sell the property today. To me, and someone comes forward in a month and says, hey, they didn't have any right to sell you the property, I would like part owner or what have you. You have title insurance that will cover their portion or they'll pay them off, so you don't have to worry about that. And then I'll go with the lender's policy, the lender, it's in the next, in the buyer's side. And then the lenders want coverage on the title too, which the buyer pays for that with their loan. It's called the loan policy. Sub-escrow is whenever there is a payoff, title companies charge a sub-escrow fee, which we split it between the buyer and the seller. It's $125, except for First American, which they charge $130. And we split it between the 2. And there's wire fee, this year. It's okay. This is to one of each. Yes, yeah. And then escrow charges, we have our escrow fee, which is $2 per thousand plus $250 base. And then we have a escrow processing fee. And $75, we have to archive our files, so they charge us, so we have to charge each side. Usually like messenger fee and things like that, I always put $96.55. It's never that high. We just do it, lenders will, one thing about lenders is I can quote you higher prices to when I first initially would give fees to the lenders to send to the buyer to disclose the fees. We always pad everything, because when you pad it, you can bring it down and the lender doesn't care. But if you short them and then you try to add it on after the fact, then we have to pay for it. Because we didn't disclose the correct amounts.
So there's always room for negotiation.
Exactly. So we do that, and then, this is what you're, can you Laura, can you push this up for me? Okay, so when you see right here, this is what this seller is gonna net. This is, the sales price was 1 million, this is what they're gonna net out of the money. And if you look at these two columns, they have to always match. Okay, the property sold for 1 million, and, this is what they netted out of it. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Okay, can we move to the buyer side now? Buyers have it, okay, so this is the buyer side. The buyer always, this is the sales price here, and the credit, this is what their loan amount's going to be, which is 800,000. And then, remember on the seller side, I showed you guys that there is the tax prorations that we have to do. Well, if you see on this side, the seller got a credit of 481.98 on that one, and this one they're being charged for, the buyer's being charged for it. Okay, and then I put in homeowners insurance and the notary fee, because if they have a lender, they have to, we send them to a signing service to sign the loan documents with them. And then, can you move up? Okay, so then again, if you can see here, I forgot to put the lender's policy, but there's the lender's policy here. And that's gonna depend on the loan amount. So if it's 800,000 loan amount, 800,000 for the loan, let's say it will run you about $1,500 for the lender's policy. And on all loans, the lender requires that you have that policy. You can't get by it. If you buy in cash, then you don't pay that. You don't have that. Just on loans. And then again, you have your messenger fee, endorsements. Endorsements are things the lenders ask for coverage on top of their insurance that they're getting for the lender's policy. So usually they're about $25 to $50. If it's a hard money loan, then they want all kinds of endorsements to be added, which they cost like $300-400 sometimes. So you have that. That's just additional coverage when I say endorsements. Endorsements are just additional coverages. And then there's a charge e-recording fee. This is $50. Usually they charge between 14 to 26. And that's just, they use the service, the title companies, to record documents. So that's their charge that they charge for it. And then escrow fee, I just put this basically here. These are not all our fees. What I do, because like the $300 loan tie-in fee, usually when there's a loan, there's a charge for that. Ours is $350. Chartwell escrow is $650 for a loan tie-in fee. I've seen it as high as $700.
So escrow fee is paid by both sides?
Yeah, they split it.
I'll split it.
So it's $2 per thousand plus $250 on each
And
side.
then do you, because I've had escrow that has property tax in it.
Uh-huh. So if they were to pay the property tax, then we would add it on here. So on that one, we had the seller paying it.
Okay.
So if the buyer was paying it, we would add it on to here. Okay, it's all gonna be, usually lenders, if taxes are due within 60 days, those lenders require to pay for it.
But banks, sorry, on a commercial property, they take out, so the new thing is when you sign a loan, banks don't even allow you to pay your property tax anymore. They automatically want to pay for you, so they charge you in advance.
So okay.
You know
you're
what I'm
talking about
talking about?
impounds. You're talking about impounds for taxes. So what happens is a lot of people, depending on who you are, like commercial, like you said, the lenders require it. Some lenders for residentials require that. Some, the buyers require it because let's say you have to come up with taxes of $2,000 every 6 months. Some people have a hard time saving that up. So this way, what they do is they ask the lender to do what's called an impound account for them. An impound account, lenders take, depending on when the taxes are due, they'll take, let's say, 4 months worth of taxes. What they do is they take the taxes for the year and then they divide it into monthly. And then they take up front, like, let's say 3 months of taxes. And then they take, your insurance, let's say 3 months of your insurance. And then with every month, when you make your monthly payment, your principal and interest payment, then you have your impound account payment that you made. So that monthly for your taxes and insurance goes in a pot on the side. And then when the taxes come due every month, it just adds to it. So when the taxes come due, they pay for it. And then when your insurance comes due, they pay for it. So then every year, at the end of the year, they will balance it out to see if you have too much money in there or if you don't have enough. So most of the time you have enough, and they'll credit the money back to you or give you a check for it. So that's all part of with the lender.
And then does this say the lender fee as well, lender cost?
No, this doesn't have any of the lender's costs because it depends on what the lender's charging.
If they charge, do you get in contact?
When they charge, it'll be on the buyer side. They'll send us what's called a CD. And it has the numbers that they're charging. Let's say they charge origination fee, tax fee, all these charges. And then we add it on under the lenders.
So you get in contact with the lender as well?
Yeah, the lender is always, what happens, the process starts, I get a purchase contract today. I open up, I call Jerry and say, open up title for me. And he opens up the pre-law. It's all about you, Jerry, all about you. And then what happens is, once we order the prelim, and then I send wiring instructions to the buyers, okay? Then I find out from the agent who the buyer's lender is, if there's a lender. I get their name and number, so immediately I prepare what's my closing statement, which will look like this, but it's just an estimate of the title and escrow fees because that's what they disclose to the buyers. And then based on that, like down the road, they'll send me what's called a CD, it's a disclosure of all the, and then they add in their numbers, they send it to me and they say, hey, can you do an estimate? So I add their fees to this. And we go back and forth. We could get this like several times we do this. And then what happens is they close that to the buyers a week before the closing. They have 3 days to approve it or not approve it. Once it's approved, then we can get loan docs. And by the time I get loan docs, the lender and I go back and forth until all our numbers match. What they're charging, what the buyer needs to come in with. So the lender and I have to match our numbers because we cannot change anything after the fact. So the buyer and what I have for numbers on what the buyer is going to have, it's going to have to be the same thing because once they bring it in, that's it.
So if I'm representing the buyer, you call me and get.
I don't call you for anything, because agents, you guys just, we deal directly with your buyer. We'll CC you on emails. But this is between us and the buyer and the lender.
So you call the lender directly?
Yeah. It's mostly gonna be, once you turn in your purchase contract, pretty much, as far as the buyer, unless there's a problem, you really don't need to do much of anything. Until we get you involved. So it's gonna be between lender and escrow, and then when it's time to, get signings and things done, we'll keep you, every time I have to, like me personally, every time I reach out to your clients, I CC you and your TC on it, so everyone's on the same page.
The other time you sent me the next sheet, it didn't have the lender's closing costs.
Because I don't know who your lender is, you just asked me for closing costs, so you didn't have a contract, so what you have, you just asking me for an estimate of what the costs are gonna be for the buyer. Once you get a lender, when you get into a property, then I can give you a proper closing statement, because we don't know what the lender is gonna charge until you're actually in escrow and you have a lender.
And then you charge the buyer.
What you get from me is this sheet right here, which has everything except for the lender's fees. Because we don't know what the lender is gonna charge.
And then how about the homeowner's insurance? How would you know about that?
We put in there like $1,500 estimate. Because we don't know until the lenders usually order the insurance now.
Lender.
So then they give us that amount and then we plug it in. Before closing, so when the buyer gets it, they have all the numbers.
I thought the buyer has to inform you because they're the one getting insurance.
No, the buyer informs the lender will reach out to your buyer. And say, hey, we need to order your insurance, do you have anyone? If you don't have anyone, then they know other people that are insuring, so they reach out and they order the insurance,
The lender gets.
yes. Okay, any other questions?
Would you please explain how you came to $2,800 on each side for escrow fee?
It's $2, okay, so what you do is $1 million. That's the purchase price. So you multiply that by $2. And then you get that amount, and then you add in the $350 to that, and that's how you get $2,800.
A $250 addition, right?
Yeah.
Or, okay. Maybe
Is that adding up?
Yeah.
Maybe our system is, I have to look in the system because it's supposed to be $2 per thousand.
Okay, okay. So
What are you getting?
2050, or maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but I understand the concept.
It should be 22, yeah.
You got what?
Should be 2250 in that.
Yeah, so I have to contact, what do you call it? Our service, our software people to find out because I charge $2 per thousand. I don't know, I took over this office from someone else, so I don't know what they
Which
did.
I understand the
Yeah.
concept, I think that
No,
matters.
I get it.
Yeah.
I always check when I'm doing the actual numbers and I always, calculate it and then make sure this is correct. But in this case, no, I didn't do it, so I have to find out from them what they have as charges go. Some escrow companies charge $2.50 per thousand, some charge $1.95. There's no written rule. Like I said, like this low tie-in fee, $350 is like standard, but like Chartwell escrow, I've seen charges $700. And so it's different. And then,
I'll go you. Sorry, let's say if there's no lender involved, how would you get in contact with the home insurance?
then, when we do, if it's an all cash transaction, I put in the escrow instructions. That this is an all cash transaction and the insurance is, up to the buyer to order insurance or get their own insurance outside of escrow.
Oh, outside of escrow.
I mean, if they want us to, we can get it for them. That's not a problem. But usually they like to directly deal with their own insurance agents.
You don't have to have insurance. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Because of a cash buy, you take the risk. But if it's a lender involved, they want you to have insurance because they taking the risk. They're giving you the money. You know what I mean? But
We
if
let
that-
you know you should get insurance and then you decide.
Insurance for the loan.
No,
Okay,
insurance
insurance
for
for
your
the property.
homeowners, for your hazard insurance.
Thank you.
And then, as you can see now, this is how much they need to come in with to, what do you call it? So this is 1 million is our purchase price, $6,306.03 is their closing cost. What they need to come in with, so that's what, they got a loan for 800,000, so that's how much they need to come in with this transaction. And then another thing I wanted to cover with you guys, because I get phone calls on this every year and every time around tax time. So as real estate agents, you might want to tell your buyers this. It's really important because lenders are starting to put it on paper, but how many people do you know that read their stuff? They don't. Even when I'm signing people, I'm like, read this. And they're like, oh no, I've done this before. And then they call me. Supplemental taxes. Does anyone know what those are?
New roads or something?
No, it's the increase from what the last person owned to what you bought it at.
So it's the difference between what the seller was paying for taxes and what you're gonna be paying for taxes. Because every time a property is sold, they're gonna reassess the property. So when you guys see a form called preliminary change of ownership that we hand out to the buyer to fill out, we ask them all these questions because that goes to the county assessors. And based on that information, they're gonna reassess your property. So supplemental taxes are a 1-year tax. and let's say they're $1,000. They'll send you a tax bill and they'll split it in half, just like your regular taxes. And then what you do is you got to pay it. Even if you have impound account set up with your lender where they're paying for your taxes and your insurance, this is outside of that. And so you've got to pay this. If you don't, they charge you 10% penalty. So when you look at it, you see supplemental, please pay attention, because I get phone calls later. And it's like, why wasn't my taxes paid? It's like, we paid your taxes, these are supplementals. So just know that. Any
So
other?
the new buyer is gonna be notified.
Yeah, they're gonna send them a tax bill, and it will say on the bottom, it'll say supplemental.
So it
I
doesn't on
heard that they don't get the bill and they can somehow, I think
They're not getting their bill?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that happens a lot too. So if you, for lack of a better word, the tax assessors and the county recorders don't know what the other one's doing. So there half the time, they're not, the computers are not, I guess, connected or what have you. So what happens is, let's say you close today and taxes are due this month, and you don't have a lender, I still make you pay your taxes. For the same reason, you don't get tax bills, sometimes they don't connect, and they send you a tax bill like 3 months after taxes are due, when you didn't get it, and then they're charging you a penalty. And I just had a client that I closed last year, and she closed in July of last year, and she didn't even get her tax bill on time to pay the taxes. So she calls me 2 months ago, and she's like, oh, I just got this tax bill and I'm being penalized. I'm like, why? And she's like, because they didn't send me, they said they sent out the tax bill. I was like, who did they send it to? She goes, apparently the seller, because they still had the sellers. So that seller, sometimes I get really nice sellers, well, they'll call me and say, hey, Goldie, I got this tax bill and it should go to the buyer. I'm like, can you take a picture, send it to me, and I forward it to the buyer? But not everyone does that.
So what do you advise that we tell our buyer?
So always tell your buyers, if the taxes are due within 60 days, let escrow pay it, if they don't have a lender. You know, because that way we can pay it, and that can be done. If not, what they can do is we can give them the APN number, which is what identifies the property, and they can go on the tax collector's website and pay for it online when the taxes come due.
You can't do it, you need to have a PIN also.
Yeah,
They
but
won't
if
have the
you do
PIN
it-
most probably.
If you do it by mail, you don't have to have a PIN.
Yeah.
You can go on there and not
Yeah,
do it
but
without
now
a
then you
PIN.
can.
So you can do it that way.
And also if they penalize you, you can always go there and they may remove it or extend. Huh?
It is a hassle.
It's a hassle, but
They don't answer their phones.
you have to drive there, you have to go
And
there.
I tell clients all the time, put a day aside, go down there, because if you're standing in someone's face, they cannot tell you no.
If it's tax season, you're there for hours.
Yeah,
But if
I said
it's
take a whole
off
day.
tax season, there's no line.
yeah,
Like if you go there to pay, taxes now,
It's great.
you'll be in and out in 30
Yeah.
minutes. But if you go the day of or a few days, oh, good luck.
yeah, it's the county, that's the worst thing. So you want to take care of everything through escrow, because county tax assessors, anything with the county takes the act of Congress to get someone to answer the phone.
And
Now, like 9A reports, I have begged and pleaded and, you know, I even send fruit baskets to the people at the Department of Building and Safety. Now I have connections there. So when I get, let's say, a 9A report that doesn't look right or it's not clear, I send an email to this guy and I get an answer within a day. And he takes care of it. I mean, it's got to a point where other agents that don't even have an escrow with me call me. They're like, can you please help me with this? And I'm like, sure.
can't you go and look up, your property tax? Like, if you don't get a bill, everybody should know that.
The APN number.
December, yeah, and you go on the county
Yeah.
website, you can look it up and you can even pay for it.
Yeah.
You can. Because when they send you the property tax thing, there's a pin on it. When you want to see what is it or how much is it to pay, you have to put that pin. Yeah, and if you don't have that pin, you cannot do it.
But you can print it.
On
That
your
pin
tax
comes
bill.
on the paper, that property tax. But once you have that pin, you can always do it.
I
But if you
have,
don't
I have a tax bill, let me bring you.
yeah, the pin-
There's, you can also print it and just mail it in with a check. And
That's
then
good,
you don't
early.
need a pin for that,
Yeah, then you have to do it earlier, just to
Yeah.
be sure.
you know, you guys will try.
The best way is to pay through escrow.
Yeah, the best way is pay through escrow and just not worry about it.
And then, how do you order 9A report?
Okay, so what happens is when you open
Escrow
the,
does.
when you open the, like, send me a purchase contract, I send an email to your seller. That's why when you guys open an escrow, please provide us with the name of your seller, their phone number, their email address, because we send an email to them right away. I send them an application for the 9A. We pay for it with our credit card up front, and then we reimburse ourselves at the back end at closing costs. But we just need them to complete the application and just ask them like 6 questions. And the sooner we order that, the better off we are. It takes between 7 to 10 days to get the 9A report back. And most people don't want to remove their contingencies until they get the report. So I always suggest to everyone, when you're going to a listing appointment, or if you get a listing, I'll gladly give you a 9A report. Take that over there and have the buyer or the seller sign it and fill in the information, bring it back to me so we can order it. So by the time you go into a contract, it's already done. But keep in mind, 9A reports are only good for 6 months, so.
And the seller fills out.
Yeah. It asks, like, do you have the, do you have, lights and locks? That's for any unit over 3, any building over 3 units. It asks you if you have, metal guards on your windows and doors. It asks you if you have, any oak trees on your property. If it's less than an acre, it doesn't matter. It asks you if you have, what do you call it?
Or at the fire sprinkler.
Fire sprinklers and carbon monoxide thing. I'll ask you all those questions, you just answer it. If
You
you
have
don't-
like, sorry, you have up to 17 days to order.
No, you have 7 to 10 days to get it back from the
So
city.
I'm saying on the
It
contingency.
depends how many days.
Yeah,
What
it
is
all
the-
depends on what your
Yeah,
agreement
like
is.
17 days is the max, right?
Yeah, that's what your agreement is, yeah. I mean, you guys can do over 17 days if you put it in an addendum, you can, whatever, you guys can agree to anything. You know, as long as both parties agree to it and you put it on an addendum, you can do whatever you want. Any other questions?
Goldie, can you please clarify for me, you mentioned earlier, the transfer tax city to city of Los Angeles. Beverly Hills does not have that?
Only, they only have a tax for County of Los Angeles, which is $10 per thousand. I have a list I can send you if you want. Email me and it's got the all the counties and what their taxes are, all the cities. If you know, Los Angeles is the only one that charges, and I'm sorry, not Culver City too. Everybody else just charges pretty much a county transfer tax, which is $10 per thousand. But I'm glad we send it to you. Yeah.
How much was for a day? How much tax for?
LA is city of LA is $4.50 for city transfer tax and then $1.10 for county. But if your property is over 5 million, you add another 4% to that. And if it's over 10 million, you add another 5%.
That's for the county, though, am I right?
Yeah, for the city.
For the city, that's the city.
5% to 1.10
No, only if your property
over 5 million.
is over 10 million is 5%, over 4, between 5 and 10 is 4%.
To
Yeah.
the-
To the purchase price.
instead of
That's a 4% above 1.1.
Yeah.
So you have the county and the city
Okay,
charges.
so here,
Oh my God.
You
You're lying about this.
hold on 1 second, we'll do it this way.
That's it, like, you don't want that.
So transfer tax for city is $4.50 per thousand. For the county is $1.10 per thousand. This is for anything under $4 million. I'm under 5 million, sorry. So if it goes 5 million, in addition to these two, you have to add another 4%. Let's say your property is 5 million, so add multiply that by 4% to add another.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a lot of money.
That's
Maybe
called
we're
the
going down.
millionaire tax, and all the lovely people of Los Angeles voted for it.
Gosh.
The homeless, for the homeless.
Technically, if somebody is selling his property for $6 million, so 4 plus 1 plus additional 4, almost 10%.
And where the
And
money goes
then,
back.
so what you need to do, a lot of, because I worked in Venice, and every house in Venice is, every sale I had was over 4 million, 5 million, 6 million. And so what they did was they would put the property, like, let's say if it was at 5 million, they would put it like 49999.
Yeah,
So they would pay that. Or they'll pay it and then the rest they will give like, what do you call it, as a credit or something to make it come down lower.
Now they're,
Okay.
now they're buying the furniture at a, so
Bought
they
it.
buy the house at 4,999 and they pay $1 million for
Isn't it
the
the
furniture,
$1 million for a furniture?
but
If they're buying
creative.
Believe it or not, most of the transactions in Venice is mind-boggling how much stupid money is out there. That everything I did in Venice that was 4, 5, 6 million was all done in cash. I mean, a lot of the movie stars that you see own houses there. I mean, I can't tell you how many people that I didn't even know. I'm like talking to this guy and I'm like, wow, you're Italian. You sound like you sound like your name sounds really familiar, but I don't know how. And then I look up the guy because of course, you know, rich people and famous people don't have time to fill out paperwork. They have people that do their stuff for them. Well, in the case of this guy, he's like, I'll fill it in, but then he didn't fill out half his information. So finally I had to Google him. And then, you know, Google has everything, his birth date, and he's like, how did you get my information? I'm like, I Googled you. And then he goes, so now you know who I am. Like, yeah, I don't care. I mean, you're just another average person to me.
how much is Culver City tax?
Culver City is $350 per thousand.
Oh,
Instead of $450, it's $350. So,
And over 5, an additional 4.
additional 4% on top of it.
Almost 10%.
So Venice Marina is, think about like this,
Yeah.
LA City.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, yeah, no, Venice, yes. Yeah, Marina too, yeah.
So
yeah.
West Hollywood is different.
Anything like, okay, Beverly Hills is its own city.
Okay,
So I always tell people, if you're buying a really expensive house, make sure you don't buy it in the city of LA.
oh, the Beverly Hills.
Yeah, because you don't have to pay the,
Oh, West Hollywood,
West Hollywood is its own city too.
oh, its own city,
But-
Yeah.
okay,
City of LA don't pay the tax, the four,
No, they
five,
only pay $1.10.
don't down there.
wow.
Yeah.
But you pay the, if it's over 5 million, still pay the.
I have a client right now, he's Iranian too, and he's like, he's selling a house that's 10 million. That he's like, he calls me up, he goes, what are these numbers? And I'm like, what do you mean, what are these numbers? These are your taxes. And he goes, I bought 4 properties in the last year, I didn't have to pay this. I'm like, yeah, you bought 4 properties, you didn't sell 4 properties. And that $10 million, that tax is driving him crazy. That-
$500,000 tax, 500,000 only for the homeless.
And you know what's sad? His house is like right on the border of
LA.
Los Angeles and West Hollywood.
Oh,
I mean, if he had bought one street over, he wouldn't have to pay it.
wow, that's.
I know people that they dumped their project because of that tax. They
But
said,
this mansion tax is, I'm sorry, it's only for LA City.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it the same thing for?
that's good to know.
multi-family?
You know,
It doesn't matter what side kind of building you have. It's just whatever where it's
Commercial,
located.
residential, all the same.
The commercial, yeah, if it's, no, you know what? That's a good question. I don't know about the commercial. I have to find that out for
for
you.
what, for the
For
tax?
for the
Mansion.
millionaire
You already,
tax.
this, still on commercial has it, everything over 5 million.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
over 5 million.
So far, I heard that any money that they collected.
Yeah,
based on
thank
the
God.
taxation tax, they haven't touched it. So I guess they know, so people that pay for it, they may get it back.
I don't know. I volunteer with the homeless on the weekends and honestly, I don't know what they're doing with that money because they have so much red tape. They have so much red tape and so much BS.
Their family members see them
And
through the.
like, let's say, you know, the system is so broken. Let's say a homeless person is looking for a job, so they gotta go to this place for job training, okay? They have to take a bus because they don't have a car. Then they have to go here to do this. They send them to 10 different locations. And these guys don't have the money to get a bus pass or what have you. So after a while, they just give up.
And
So,
I was working with, I leased a 60-unit apartment building to the low housing income. The problem is, a bunch of them that come are freeloaders. There is nothing wrong with them, they just don't work, and they get all these apartments. The second problem is, the city needs to build mental institutions.
exactly.
Because
Right
right
there.
there,
You just nailed it.
I've been in downtown, my family business is there, grown up there. Skid Row was one car, one block, maybe 200 people. Now there's thousands. You can offer them a hotel room, then you say, I'll pay for a whole year, we'll give you a whole. He says, are you crazy? I have my coat here, I have my drugs here, it's free air. No one tells me they are mentally, if they should take
They-
mansion money and open huge mental
We have a
institutions.
mental health crisis in this country. But we just like to use our money towards weapons to kill people instead of heal people.
When,
Or let's put them in jail because, you know, God forbid, they're gonna get healed.
when
over
kids are identifying as cats and dogs,
there.
and who lets them get away with it? That's a
Yeah, I don't
huge
have any
trouble.
kids, I don't
I've
know.
been running for the last 15 years, mental health for young kids in the high school, in the middle school, and the city said, LA Unified says, we don't have budget to pay you, and I'm providing all the budget for them. Is that crazy?
No, I know,
All the money that they charge.
I talked to my
There are not crazy
therapist.
people out there.
I mean, everybody should have a therapist.
Yeah, I do have.
We all do, and like, my therapist tells me, she's like, we have a huge mental health crisis in this country.
It is.
And no one is like doing anything about it. And like the homeless people that, I remember one guy, Peter, I will never forget him. He's like my happy story. I had a friend of mine, he passed away. He was a multimillionaire. He was my best friend and he died of cancer. So, this guy, Peter, was downtown. I would go downtown to feed the homeless and everything. And he was a crack addict. And it took me 6 months of sitting next to him. I'm like, here's some food. It's okay if you don't want to eat it, but keep it, you know, but you gotta put something in your body. You can't just keep doing drugs. It took him 6 months to tell me his name. And I was telling, my friend, Mike about it. I said, Mike, I said, and he, you know, he had cancer. He had no kids. So he says, I'm gonna go with you one day. So we went downtown, like this was 6 months, it's like a year later. And Mike says to him, he goes, Peter, I'm gonna give you an offer. I'm gonna take you right now. You gotta go with me right now. You put that crack pipe down, you go with me, I'll change your life. Come with me and I will give you a job, I will get you cleaned up. You just gotta give me a word that you're gonna put that crack pipe and come with me. And do you know that man put his crack pipe down and he went with him. And he took him to his house and cleaned him up. And then put him in 1 year residency somewhere out of the state. Got him cleaned up. And right when what is that hurricane that happened in Haiti? Remember when all those people? Mike went down to Haiti and he had his construction company. He went down there to help build houses for these people for free. He was bankrolling it. He took Peter with him and he put him in charge of the construction. And when Mike died, Peter showed up at his funeral.
Wow.
He was clean. And so I can't ever give up on anyone. I don't care how homeless you are, I don't care how mental you are, I will do my best to help you.
Thanks.
So, you know, I hear people all the time, oh, these people are garbage. I mean, I've heard it all. And no, nobody's garbage, everybody counts. You
And
know,
there's a lot
everybody.
of veterans there.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
my
veterans.
boyfriend of 18 years is a Green Beret. He's got 100% PTSD, but lucky for him, he was into martial arts. So he has a great grip on it, and he helps other veterans. Even to this day, he's going to Afghanistan, and he's helping the Afghanis that we left behind, our government left behind. They take their own time, and they fly to Afghanistan in groups for 2 weeks. And they find the Afghanis, there's a list. Get them out of the country, because our government left them behind. So, you know, there's a lot of things, so we gotta just, I don't care if you're blue, black, white, green, whatever you are, you're a human being, and I'm gonna respect you, you know.
Nice.
Thank you.
Take care of you. So,
Two.
Mira had a question on Zoom.
I love Mira, where's Mira? Hi, Mira.
Hi, Goli.
How are you?
I'm actually still like, going crazy with some other stuff, but I wanted to ask you the
I got this in my hand today, so in case you were wondering, I got your package.
Yes, yeah, like Laura has been so great. I actually remember you talking about city transfer taxes. Is there a chance that I ask for a favor or for everyone too, that you put it somewhere as a cheat so I would know, should I negotiate? Because the deal, the escrow that I am in right now, I negotiate that the seller paying for all the city transfer taxes, and that is I just realized it's like, oh my gosh, this is like, nearly 10 grand. Whew. So
Well, sellers pay for the transfer taxes anyway. Now, you can, if you have a buyer, buyer and seller can negotiate it. I've seen it before where the buyer pays it. It all depends on what you negotiate upfront in your purchase contract. I mean, sellers traditionally pay, but that doesn't mean that, like everything else is negotiable.
yeah, it's like, in the seller market, the seller sometimes put it right there that no, not put it right there, but on like even on a listing that buyer pay. So I have to swallow that. And then like, after I found out about a few things, then I negotiate for the seller to be like back on paying these. But there's a lot of time I've seen that without on the MLS, the listing agent said you need to put it on your purchase agreement that your buyer will pay half of it. Like, this happening in the valley. And so I'm like, okay, I need to know, like, if this is going to be something I should let go of or I should negotiate, because I just realized that each city have a different taxes right now from you.
Well, the valley, everything in the valley is city of Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you're gonna have the taxes. Like I said, again, you can negotiate this, but usually on the purchase contracts, if you look at it, I've been doing this for 23 years, and in 23 years, maybe I've seen 4 times where the buyer agreed to pay the transfer taxes because they wanted the property really bad. So it's like everything else, again, it's negotiable.
Yeah, but like, I would like to know like each city, how much, like, I'm just writing.
I'll send you the link that will show you which each city's taxes are.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Or any, okay, honey. Okay, any other questions? No?
So you said, transfer tax is, normally 1%?
No.
Sorry,
It's $1.10
No.
per,
I'm saying not over 4 million, I'm saying if it's $600,000 property,
so it's, you multiply 600,000 by $4.50,
600,000 times.
$4.50.
I thought about 6.
And then whatever that is, that will be your city transfer tax. And then you also multiply it by $1.10.
For county.
Yeah, And whatever that comes up to, that's for your county transfer tax.
Oh, nice.
Make sense?
Yep.
Any other questions? We're all good?
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Well, let me know, you guys have, I mean, my cards are up there, if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me, I don't mind phone calls, I always answer my phone. There we go. I always answer my phone, and anything I can do to help you guys win, I'm right there with you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.